What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. The hell? What the hell? There we go. I didn't hear it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the breakdown, episode 694. We're 6 away from 700. Title sponsors Midnight. Shout out to Midnight. See, Charles is everywhere. Everywhere on my timeline, Charles is there giving an interview or giving his take on what's happening with the markets. And obviously talking about Midnight. I'm very bullish about Midnight. Regardless if they're a sponsor, I'm very bullish about Midnight and what Midnight is doing. Shout out to also the sponsor, Polymarket. Polymarket, the official prediction market sponsor of the David Gokhshtein brand and also the breakdown. Let's also go with Cake Wallet, Vic. Hopefully I can get Vic on, man. Maybe probably next week, not this week. But we can go ahead and talk about how secure Cake Wallet is and what benefits it offers to this space, one of the best wallets that we have out here. I got 3 or 4 wallets that I think that are phenomenal, and obviously Cake Wallet is there. And this is, again, I say this, I know sponsor, but like I've been talking about Cake Wallet for a while since Vic introduced it. And I did some sponsorship work with Vic back in the day. So like I said, anybody who continues to build and work out here, that's some dope shit. Also, People's Reserve. Shout out to CJ. He'll be talking at Bitcoin at the conference in Vegas. Bitcoin conference at Vegas on the main stage. He'll be talking about his product, People's Reserve. All right. Obviously, we'll talk about the markets. We'll talk about the speech that happened last night. By the way, shout out to TikTok, shout out to Tech, shout out to Fran, shout out to everybody who joins in. That's probably the livest chat. By the way, I know why it is. I will now break everything down. I realized this after months now that something wasn't right. And I've finally figured it out because there are options on X, or I should say Twitter, that you can go ahead and apply to have people talking to chat or not talking to chat, and I have to fix that. That is on me. That is on me. And I actually had a giggle about it yesterday at 1 o'clock in the morning because I was looking. I was like, even though I've already submitted tickets into support asking, what the fuck is going on, I look and I see there are options to where you can allow people to talk and not allow people to. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, man. We'll get to that. Anyway, Landy's in the back. We'll bring him in a few. The speech yesterday, to be honest, obviously I support Trump. I love Trump. Nothing new was said. Maybe Landy will probably disagree with me on this, but I didn't hear anything new except the little things that he threw. Maybe like a few things that he threw out there, but it wasn't really nothing new. So I don't know. I'm just keeping it 100. I don't think I didn't hear anything in that speech that was new. The markets fell apart after the speech. Trump's approval rating went up a bit, but again, the markets took a hit. And one of my real in life friends called me and said, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" And I'm like, "Listen, take the opportunity to get into the market. Like take your opportunity right now to it's not financial advice, but like buy up now, like front run the markets because they're gonna go back up. Front run the markets because they will go back up. And I'm not trying to I'm not Nostradamus and shit like that, but Bitcoin's been dead for fucking how many times has Bitcoin died? 95,000 times. I've seen this show before. I've seen the movie. I know the ending. So I would just say front run the markets. But as for Trump's speech, you know me. I'm a big Trump guy, man. I love Trump, but I really didn't hear much. My takeaway, maybe I have to rewatch it. Maybe I have to watch it again. I didn't hear much. I don't know. And maybe you guys heard more than I did. I really didn't. Pat Bondi is apparently going to be fired. And according to Polymarket, there's a 93% chance that will happen. And there's been reports, even from Gokhshtein Media, along with others, that are reporting that Pat Bondi is about to be fired. And also, there's been conversations now that Tulsi Gabbard will also be either she'll resign or she'll be fired. And apparently that's due to the fact that she would not, or people say that she did not have Trump's back during the Senate hearing. So I don't know, a lot of things happening, and these things could be like, I don't want to see Tulsi go. I don't want to see Tulsi go because it was really cool to see a bunch of Democrats and independents join Trump's administration. And I think this is one of the best administrations that's ever been put together. So I don't want to see any of this happen. Especially with Tulsi and RFK Jr. I think those are two great add-ons. I wish Elon would come, I wish they would work with Elon a little bit more, but I think I understand the separation with Elon and Trump because we obviously seen what happened when, Elon sided with Trump. Besides them getting into a little fight, two alphas, obviously, which that could have been staged too. I thought that was staged. The whole thing that happened on social media and the bickering. I think that was done because of everything that was happening to Tesla. But again, that's my personal opinion. But it would be nice to have, even though Elon and Trump are friends again, it would be nice to have that chemistry again working. But okay, it is what it is. It is what it is. Episode 694. Sponsored by Midnight, Polymarket, Cake Wallet, The People's Reserve. And we got more stuff cooking. Let's bring in Landy. Let's go ahead and talk to Landy. Dandy's been waiting in the back to go ahead and have a conversation. I will not let him talk over me today. Absolutely not. I am ready. It is game time. Hello, Landy. Good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
Oh my God. He sounds like he's still upset about quantum computing.
I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
disappointed about quantum computing. Can we move on from quantum computing?
No, no, we can't, because the
Why?
quantum computers have tricked you into reading all of the April 1st headlines yesterday that Bondi was already fired, going to be fired, or being considered to be fired.
Listen, I think it's reports today. It's not from yesterday.
No, it's from yesterday. It originated yesterday. Now, she might actually be fired, but, or out at the administration at some point. But as of today, she's still there. As of today, the whole thing with Gabbard, I find interesting because Trump actually came out and expressed support for her and her takes and her views on the situation just the other day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I said, uh, I
I
like Pam. I look. I like Bondi. I'm gonna
I
go
don't
against what everybody thinks because a lot of people that I talk to, they don't like her. I actually like her.
I don't like her. Her nose is kind of turned up a little bit. That bothers the shit out of me.
Okay. I mean, if you're judging by appearance, I mean that's
Oh, no,
great.
it's not just appearance. She was supposed to do something via a directive from the president, and she failed to do so multiple times now.
Well, are we talking about the Epstein files?
Not just that, there's other things, but yes,
Okay.
that's the primary reason.
I think that President Trump is loyal. President Trump is
Mm,
absolutely loyal to people that are
he'll
loyal
throw
to
you
him.
out. He'll throw you out if he
No,
doesn't
but
if
he'll
you
throw
piss him off, he'll throw you out. He'll give you a chance,
100%.
though.
But they're saying that Trump is pissed off at Tulsi for not really siding with him when she was testifying up there about Iran. And then you have Pat. Listen, Bondi. I don't know. I like her, but the ball was dropped on the Epstein files. Like it doesn't matter. Everything else, there's other things that we can talk about that you might think she dropped the ball on, but the Epstein thing is like front and center, right? Like nobody gives a shit about everything else. It's
No.
Epstein, right? And like the
Yeah.
way everything was done, the way she came. Listen, the
It was
first
the
time she came
optics.
out there, yeah, she came out. Remember when she came out there, said, "I have the files on Fox News," and then she didn't have like the whole thing has been an absolute clusterfuck,
It
since
felt
the
like
beginning.
it feels like, look, the whole optics thing with Tulsi prior to the hearings and the testimony was that she was gonna be out because of what she was gonna say. Then that narrative's dead already because she came out, she was very clear in her support of the president, she was very clear about the intelligence that they gathered, and it didn't run counter to what the president, has expressed as, the main reasons why he's been wanting to go in and take Iran out as a player within the game here on the nuclear side of things, and the threat that they pose to the Middle East. I mean, these are there was nothing there that countered what he and the rest of the admin's positions were. It's just that her position is not the same as his when it comes to the actions that were taken. He's expressed that, hey, we have differences, but that's what that was a good thing. So I don't know because he's already. She didn't say anything that issue I thought was dead already, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole speculation was because of the Joe Kent thing and the connections there and the kind of covering up for him. Um, which, by the way, anybody that's paying attention, he for where he was, and like if you look at like the actual information and access that he would have had, even if he was still being included in those national security meetings, would have been very limited. So it kind of tells you everything you need to know. Nothing against Joe, but I think honor his service, and he's definitely a hero, but he's definitely wrong on some of the subjects and the ways that he's been talking about some of those subjects lately. But I don't know.
He's definitely like I mean, this is a
There's something
person
up.
that can't be trusted, man. I respect what I said. Like, I respect what he's done for the United States of America by serving, but what he's doing now, going out there every single day,
It's
and like
information warfare. It's what
it's
it is.
it's really who's paying him.
It
Like, he-
doesn't even have to be who's paying you. It can be what are your interests really at the end of the day, right? And I think it's more on the podcaster sphere of like who's really backing a lot of these people because they flipped in the moment's notice. And they also have done they've done different psychological, um, which you would call psyops, I guess, these days.
Lanny, how did he already have a meeting with Tucker 10 days before
I
resigning?
mean, yeah, well, I mean, these are questions that are fairly easily considered answered already, right?
Yeah.
He immediately went to the podcast circuit. This was obviously part of a plan. Um, is that some and the speculation by many, regardless of how you feel about what he said or what he's doing, is that he is, um, kind of a little agent of chaos at the behest of someone like Tulsi. I just I don't buy that. Um, I don't think that Tulsi's there to sabotage the administration. I think that Pam Bondi is. And I think that has been very clear by the ways in which she has set up narratives to absolutely look like a disgrace, when she could have handled things in a very different manner right out the gate, were purposeful to make the administration look bad. That's there's a different
You
that's
really
the
are
difference.
salty on her.
Well, it's like, there's I don't I like Trump, right? I believe that he's acted on the intelligence that he received in the appropriate manner. I think that the way that he's pushing specific policies here in the United States and some of the executive orders, I think I'm very, very in favor of. Problem is, um, ineffective when codifying a lot of that if Congress doesn't cooperate and if the rest of your administration starts to stab you in the back on your agenda. And that's something that has happened less this go around than his first term. But I just don't see I don't like Sachs, who has moved on from being the crypto czar to a different role.
That was a
Um,
horrible move.
why?
I said that
Oh,
was a
to get
horrible
him
move.
into the crypto.
To when it comes to crypto, he should have never been. They should have never put him in that position. Like the guy doesn't know. Like respectfully, I don't believe the guy knows anything about crypto.
Yeah.
Um, I understand that he's dabbled in the world of tech and shit like that, but he don't know nothing about crypto. You needed to put somebody who understands crypto in that position. That's where I agree with Charles. And I understand Charles's frustration because Charles has been going out there for a very long time in terms of DC. Trying to get regulation and certain bills passed for crypto, not just for Cardano or shit like that, just in general for crypto. He's been fighting for blockchain. Why don't you put people like that in that position? Him and others that have been here for the longest time. David Schwartz. I'm just saying. I'll throw out every name. I'll throw in Bitcoiners. Like, put these people in charge, and then you'll see America really become the crypto capital of the world. But you don't put it in a David Sachs. Like, what is he gonna do? Let me ask you a question. What has he done for AI and crypto?
Well, he really helped to perpetuate the idea of AI tech firms and Bitcoin miners kind of getting together and offsetting through on the energy and infrastructure side of
That's
things.
it. I mean, like,
And from the finance side of things, that's about all he did. From the policy side of things, I think that he allowed for backdooring of a lot of crypto special interests. And that I think was a mistake. But things have evolved while he's been there, which is one of the reasons why he is stepped down as the crypto czar and AI czar. Right
and let's
now
touch on
he's
that
moved
also
on to
real
something
quick.
else.
In the
What's up?
next 48 hours, apparently, apparently, there will be, the Clarity Act apparently will move forward, and that came from Coinbase. So, I mean, Coinbase has been holding it up, right? So if Coinbase is pushing that narrative out there that within the next 48 hours there's going to be real structure to the Clarity Act, we might see this
Well,
passed.
I mean, there's a lot of things that Congress has to do to actually get this through to a floor vote, right? Because this thing's probably going to have to go through reconciliation again as well, because they keep adding and removing all kinds of stuff, and it's got to pass committee again. So maybe that's what they're talking about, is it's going to pass committee. I don't think this is going to a floor vote at any point in the near future. I mean, maybe they're going to fast track it, but there's other things that the president has been focused on that he's wanted from Congress already. And every time there is a focus from the administration saying that he wants specific legislation from Congress, it takes them, you know, a very long time to actually get it to his desk. And
You
this
know,
is it's been going on for a while now. And everybody blames the Trump administration and even Sachs. And I think unfairly in some instances. Even though I'm not a fan of Sachs in that role, and now he's moved on to, what is it, like the science head of science or
yeah,
advisor for science
it's,
board?
it's
Well,
technology, some shit like that.
yeah. Well, the thing there is that for as much um for as poor of a job as a pick as I think he was for that, y'all got to look at Congress. This is a congressional issue that they keep taking a bill that had the core of it intact for what we wanted to see from a policy side of things. And we discussed this prior. The appointees for the SEC and CFTC out of the Trump administration are the only ones doing any real work in this regard that is actually helpful to the crypto industry, right? By providing the actual guidelines for innovation. And like, actually, they're the only ones that are pushing things forward in terms of the ways in which they are telling, instructing us as the public and as public and private companies to handle crypto, right? And they've been doing a damn good job. And then they've even been pushing things forward as like an indication of like, hey, if you're going to pass something, this stuff should be within it so that our frameworks actually work. And it's Congress that gets in there and keeps muddying the issue. And I think I've said this before, I think purposely trying to torpedo it. And I think that is an effort on both sides, not just one side.
I will. Yeah, I mean, Congress. I can get into that topic the entire day or the entire show. I want to quickly say that also at the same time, I was actually a little bit disappointed with Trump's speech yesterday. You might not feel
Why?
the same, but I don't know. It's just very
Nothing new.
low energy. Look, I like to. This is where like I separate. I feel like I separate myself from everybody else. Like you have people that were. I'm a Republican and I love Trump. I'm a MAGA guy. Cool, but I can call it for what it is. Like I was watching it yesterday and it just felt the energy wasn't there.
Were you going in with expectations of something?
What it wasn't necessary. Like if there was something for him to come out to the American people to talk about, then great. But he came out and just said the same things he's been saying while being, asked questions by
That's
reporters. I
because
mean,
you
like,
pay attention. Most of the nation doesn't. This was in a national address. So here, I actually here's where I disagree.
I don't know that.
Most
Mandy,
people
respectfully,
you've
like
watched.
he
Most
came
people
out
aren't
there.
paying
He
attention.
didn't say anything. He didn't say anything like
New.
you. For me personally, you do those speeches when you have something new to tell the American people.
Maybe it wasn't just
He's
for
one of
us.
the most active presidents when it comes to talking to the press. So like I think the American people have seen a lot of stuff. Now, if you want to talk about from the optics of we have, liberal media, 90% of media is liberal. So they always put out, all this bullshit and they twist the
Yeah.
narrative on Trump. And you want to say that he came out there. It's a good thing that he came out there and he gave the speech to the American people because he gets to go ahead and talk directly to them. Okay. But otherwise, no energy. I'm not trying to sound like one of these woke right people. I'm just saying there was absolutely
I
no
mean, you do
energy.
sound like one of those woke right people. Look at you.
No, but I'm just saying like he
You're
was
even being
going.
paid by the. Wait,
No,
you pay yourself, right?
I wish somebody would pay
You
me.
pay
Like,
yourself.
I
He's
wish
being paid by a Gockstein. Go figure.
I love Trump. I love Trump, but yesterday's speech, like you could tell, like he was just like I don't know. He was like all over the place, man.
No, it wasn't. I first off,
You don't think it was all over the place?
no, it wasn't. It
Okay.
actually followed the script that he was reading. So
And then
one of
who's
the
the
things was
script writer, man?
well, what you gotta I mean, he came out and started by talking a little bit about Artemis too, but okay. So first off,
Landy, we gotta
he
call it
had
for
to
what
come
it
out.
is, Landy.
No, no, no. You let me finish. Let me finish. He had to come out. It's been a month, right? First to the first. He had to come out and say something. He came out and he announced it after we struck. He has to come out and give an update. So from an optics point of view, you don't not give an update, right? You don't not do a speech. Second of all, he laid out the path of why we went in, where we are now, and where he expects to go in the future. And he included in his speech exactly what he wanted to say to the NATO nations. And I think that is the most important piece is understanding that this wasn't just for the American people to be updated on what was going on. It was also a in on camera spoken warning to NATO and the EU that, hey, you kind of messed up this situation. This was a big test of our relationship, and you messed this up royally. And I told you this from day one. I told you that they were the ones being put on the hot seat when action started right away. I said from New York to London, they're on the hot seat. And they failed miserably. They've crumbled under pressure. They've shown that the only reason that that NATO exists today is because of the American military's might and the majority of that being American dollars going in to support that infrastructure. We have bases all over
Okay.
the world protecting them, and it's our Navy that's protecting them in the majority of these waterways. So now you got to go protect your own shit. We produce our own shit. And he couldn't have said this prior, by the way, until this is where this kind of a speech, well, you're looking at the energy portion, and like he wasn't boisterous and loud, and it isn't a
No,
time to do that.
like it,
And people were expecting things out of this speech, like either the end of the war or boots on the ground. That was like the big hype
no, I
about it.
wasn't
It
even
was like that's
that's
not
not
going to happen.
Landy, that was the liberals were expecting that and the woke
Well,
right.
is there anything? What's the difference between the fake right and the woke liberals? There is no difference.
There isn't a difference, but I'm just saying they were expecting boots on the ground. I wasn't even expecting that. Like I thought that was just like some bullshit being peddled. For me, I was just sitting back and when I'm watching it, I dozed off a little bit. I'm just Landy. I'm telling you the truth, man. I love Trump.
But you're reading
This-
about it all day. You know that most people, if you go out on the street and were to talk to them about what's going on, half of them don't even know what's going on. They have no
well,
idea.
I have family members that ask me what's going on, so I understand that
They ask
perspective.
you
Yeah, I understand.
because they're
I
not
get
in it.
your perspective. I'm
Okay?
just saying, like, I wish.
So
I just okay. You
I
know,
feel
I
traveled.
also have to sit back and say that he is almost 80 years old.
Sure, I get like you're
Because
feeding
if you
into
look
the
at
narrative of he's getting older and therefore
yeah,
he's gonna.
like if
There
you
was a
look at
lot of
Trump one,
Biden-esque comments being made by people yesterday. Yeah, I heard and read a few of those. But I've been traveling around.
no, nobody's worse than Biden. Like Biden, like I didn't know what the fuck was happening when Biden would speak. Respectfully, I didn't know what
Would have
we
been
were going
defended
in
by the
multiple
media, though.
directions.
It would have been defended by the media. We wouldn't actually have heard any of the critiques.
Listen,
But
Landy, I just feel like the speech could have been better. That's all I'm saying. I think it could have been better. I didn't learn nothing new, but okay.
what
I
did you
guess I didn't think
learn?
about it that way. You know,
That's what I
the
wanna know.
general public that does not tune in or even think about politics, they tuned in yesterday. They saw the president speak. Okay, no
Yeah.
problem with that. Our president likes to go into. I mean, he did say some funny things. Like to me, they were funny. You know, like the way he describes people is hilarious. But
Well, I mean, that's definitely him going off script, which is
Yeah,
always they give him room for on the prompter.
it's
But
like I killed the guy in
I'm gonna give
Iraq.
you something anecdotal. So I've been traveling a little bit, which is one of the reasons why people haven't seen me literally everywhere, even after joining you here. Um, but there has
Hold on,
been
hold the door real quick, Lyndon. Let me just say something, and then you can have the mic, guys. I'm not trying to be a moderate, okay? Like I'm just trying to be honest with my opinion. I hate to use the word honest, but I am trying to be honest with my opinion on the situation or any situation. I always try to be objective. Okay. I am a conservative, but I can call it the way I see it. That's really it. So at the end of the day, I know it's hard. It's a hard concept for a lot of you guys because you're so attached to your party lines. I am a MAGA guy. I love Trump. I love everything that Trump has done. Whether you long term, I've been saying this. Long term, I believe we will see the effects in a positive way from Trump's administration. It might not happen in the 4 years that he's in office. Might happen in the fifth or sixth year, or 2 years after he's out of office, and let's say JD Vance or Rubio is at the helm. But everything that Trump is doing is setting the course for us to really be a great country again with common sense. So I'm gonna give Landy the mic, and Landy, you can go. But I just want to make that very clear. I can criticize or give some feedback on Trump or whoever, but that does not mean that I don't support the president. That doesn't mean that I don't like 95% of the things that he does. I agree with wholeheartedly. Don't get that fucking twisted at all. Anyway, sorry. You can have the mic back because I think people start thinking I'm a deviate from Trump and I'm gonna start no. No,
well,
but yesterday I just felt like the speech could have been better. That's all. I didn't say anything that was bad.
but I guess here's where I don't really care. Like the speech wasn't. I wasn't going in expecting to learn anything new.
Yeah,
Um, So what I was looking for was what are the points that he's going to stress? And the major point out of that speech that he stressed was the weakness of our allies in their resolve to actually do anything when the rubber hits the road. And he had first put this out in, I guess it was Truth Social posts, obviously reposted on X via the official administration's accounts. But it confirms something that I talked to you about very early on, right? And that was that, you know, a lot of this, for as much as this has to do with the um the operational planning that started from the moment he got into office, you could see the wheels turning, right? Getting oil um production back up and natural gas production back up here in the United States. We immediately, by the way, moved back into first place in terms of production for oil and natural gas. Now, you got to remember that Biden inherited a rising um, production base when it came to oil and natural gas. And then what he in turn did was utilize the SPR when inflation hit really hard
I
because
was about to say he fucked everything up.
Yeah. Well, from an economic standpoint, what was happening with the Black Sea and Russia and Ukraine did affect supply chain and supply lines. It just wasn't talked about, right? Like the Strait of Hormuz is, right? So, and then the subsequent, you know, the subsequent Nord Stream stuff and like all of these kinds of things really disrupted things globally, which sent oil and natural gas prices soaring under Biden. But he actually maintained, much to many on the fake right, I call them fake right, and the woke left, talking about how he was destroying the energy production. What he did is he slowed it down and put the brakes on, but he did not actually reduce it. He basically kept it the same. And it started to grow again when Trump got back into office and signed a bunch of executive orders, which now, the United States being the number one producer of oil and natural gas in the world. And that's before even partnerships, that's before importing, refining, and then re exporting. We're talking about United States production itself is number one in the world. So this and I told you right at the very beginning that this is going to have that not only is this going to put pressure on Russia and China because people aren't paying attention to Ukraine. Talked to you about this a few times even this week. But people aren't paying attention to Russia and Ukraine or how Ukraine has been targeting Russian energy infrastructure, which leads to that overland pipe, which leads to those overland pipelines that supply China. So yes, this takes and has a larger effect on Asian countries, Russia as well, and Europe. And it's all about looking at a map and where they have deep water ports and where they can actually ship and receive this product from. And from a strategic point of view, it was either going to be as soon as anything kicks off. It's not like it was a surprise. Raise oil production, start going after and blockading in South America to go and grab Maduro, and then go out to the Middle East and park the Navy outside of Iran. Right? Like wasn't like this was a giant surprise, and people act surprised like there was no plan and they're not telling us the plan. And like, it's so stupid because
Yeah.
it was very clear from the very beginning what was happening and how things were happening and what the messaging even was from the administration. This whole notion of like, we have no idea what the plan is. This is entirely an internet construct and a news media talking point to really try and undermine the actual reasons why this is happening.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to confront reality at the end of the day. And what we now have confirmation of through his speech yesterday is that a lot of this had to do with the same things that they discussed when they went to Davos. And that is that the world is changing, the order is reordering, and we are not doing the things the way that you want us to do anymore. So you either are going to come and be friendly with us and take our side on these things, or you're out on your own. And this is just one more step. We've known about him not being happy with NATO for a long time, not being happy with allies supporting the United States in many different areas, including trade issues, including help and or facilitating. You know, we've been protecting global shipping lanes for Western nations for a very long time now, and our European allies have not done a whole lot to help. And this is something that has been expressed well before this conflict. And now it's kind of coming to a head where I think that we are going to see some major changes, potentially pulling out of NATO. Who knows? But
We should.
I know that
We
that's a
should.
talking point.
I 100% want the United States of America to pull out of NATO. There is no reason for us to be in NATO. I've been saying this for about a year or two now, vocally on social media, that we have no business being in NATO. We're paying all the bills. We are consistently there to help these European countries. And when we needed help, they weren't there for us. So I don't know why we're paying all this money to only have France, Italy, the UK, Spain, etc., Poland tell us, you know what, we ain't gonna help you out here. But when they needed help with Ukraine, they came and they were asking the United States, you need to come help us here.
Yeah.
So like I think it's time for us to look at this entire situation, see exactly what happened, see it for what it is. Trump is realigning the board. Our friends now that I believe that are our allies, our real allies, are the people in the Middle East, obviously, the Saudis and
Yeah. Who
yeah,
he
100%.
highlighted yesterday.
Yeah. So
And-
for me, it's time. Even like look, I watch other stations, like let's say I tuned into GB News. I think I tuned into GB News. I think that's it. And you had a lot of people, English people, that British people that were saying like, "Man, we really disrespected the United States of America."
There's
You
some
had
people
more
freaking out right
people.
now.
I'm breaking up.
No, I said there's a lot of them. I've seen a lot of foreign commentary talking about whether it be Australia to like what you were just
Yeah,
mentioning,
a lot
UK
of people,
media, like we screwed
former
this up.
NATO heads have said like the disrespect towards America is crazy. The amount of money that America has put into NATO versus what these other countries have done is wild. So they were like, hey, if the United States pulls out, like how are you even supporting this program? Like you guys are never going to be able to support this program without the United States of America. Look, it's time. I think we need to sit back. I said this on somebody else's show yesterday. I said, it's back in the day, like things have changed. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm trying to tread carefully because of TikTok, and that sucks. TikTok really needs to allow people to really speak their minds. But the culture of these countries have changed. They're no longer the same countries that we had alliances with 3 decades ago. And I think people need to notice that the entire environment in these countries have changed. It's not the same people. It's just not like I said this, if you look in the history books and you read about, let's say, England, and then you go to England now, it's unrecognizable.
Well, I
So
mean,
these are the people that we're dealing with. This is who Trump's dealing with. This is who America's dealing with in general. This is not the same coalition. And that's
look
why
at
we
just
need to
10
pull out.
in the Gulf states. There's no way that this could have been done without retaliation from the Gulf states against the United States as an ally.
Yeah.
I don't think military retaliation, but definitely not. Definitely trying to put an end to things, even just 10 years ago. Whereas now the Gulf states, taking like this is, and a lot of people kind of are poo pooing this. The Gulf states, specifically Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all of the Gulf states that he mentioned there during his speech, they have been not only supporting the U.S. military, but encouraging us to continue, and then providing bases and logistical support in the area, and monetary support, and even pledging again more monetary support for the United States because they know, where their bread is buttered at this point. And a lot of this has to do with the Abraham Accords. A lot of people don't pay attention or even want to talk about it. It's never mentioned anymore. But look at the leaders who are sitting at the table and are part of those accords, and who is now aligned with the US's interests in that area. And they stand to benefit the most when this resolves. And many of them are saying, no, keep hitting them. And they're expelling and persona non grataing the Iranian regime out of their countries. This is such a massive change from even just 10 years ago. And no one's paying attention to it. It's all about US bad and somehow Iran good now, like, because that doesn't make any sense either.
They're very weird conversations by Americans when they say that, the support that they have for Iran, the regime, not the people, but
Yeah,
the regime is wild to
it's
watch.
bizarre. It's
Very.
bizarre, and it's really pushed by a lot of very prominent Western media organizations that I think need. We've known for a long time that some of the players within the Western media sphere that have different brands that are not just American brands under their umbrella have been already pushing the anything Trump does is bad. Like whether or not we once agreed, we could agree with it today, and then if Trump does it, like, oh crap, now we have to be against it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But this is like it's kind of hit a different level in his second term. Like it's the media is bringing the fight where the votes didn't actually fight at the ballot box in 24, right? So they're bringing the fight in that way, and a lot of this has to do with just do as much reputational damage, true or not, in order to flip, the House or Senate. That is, or both, right? That is really all it's been about this entire time, which is one of the reasons why I think that, and I've maintained that I think, um, that we're there, we're in that window of that 4 to 6 weeks to wrap things up. And I think what we're going to see is a slow spin down. And many have been speculating of boots on the ground and like all this other stuff. And like anyone who thinks that we haven't had special operations happening there, and that the IDF hasn't had special forces there at some point on the ground, I think that you're silly. We won't ever know about it until well after the fact. But maybe maybe people have been a little bit jaded by the fact that there's like a Mew and another Mew on the other side in the Red Sea. It's like, do you really think that those are not invasion forces, right? But what it does tell you is that it's a show of force. And this administration and especially the military planners, you remember what they did when with Midnight Hammer. It was they did a lot of trickery flying out west while they were flying out east to actually strike those production facilities. And I think that there is a lot of fog of war things that are happening. And I think that people are concentrating on the war being won or lost and what defines a win or lose when they're ignoring the fact that the economic war started well before this, while the
Yeah,
negotiations were going on.
you just said something which is, it's crazy. Like if you think about it, P- you're an American, right? Like if you're an American, regardless if you like the president or not, you should be rooting for the United States of America to win, right? Because I hear a lot about people saying that they care about the military, right? So like forget about what you think about Trump. You want the military to come out with the win, right? Yes or no? I mean, I'm just like,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I
yeah.
mean, they've already look, there is no question that the American military is absolutely dominating around. This is evidenced by new interior flights, like deep into Iranian territory flights of a World War II bomber, the B-52. Okay. We have complete air supremacy and sea supremacy. In From a military operations standpoint, we've taken out the majority of the IRGC leadership. There's some infographics floating around out there of the different branches of Iranian government and who is dead and who is not, who's been eliminated and who's still around. And they are absolutely decimated. Anybody that thinks from a strategical military point of view that they are not absolutely decimated has no idea what they're talking about. So, but it's more than that. So now the narrative has shifted. Well, there's no plan to replace the leaders. Well, he's clearly laid out that they want to deal with an administration. We have a model for this already in Venezuela. Wants to deal with an administration that's willing to make a deal. And I don't think, and this is where Trump and the administration has already said this, is the United States goals are different than Israel's. Israel wants all of their leadership gone and a complete revolution to occur within Iran. And that has been, and I said this right from the beginning, I don't think that's the United States goal. I think it is the Venezuela model. Get people in there that are willing to deal. We'll wheel and deal. And how we take power is we take power through managing energy infrastructure, helping them with deals to enrich their nation. And then slowly over time, we begin moving the needle towards the people. Because a flat out regime change and a destruction of that regime and a decapitation actually will, you could potentially have a more hardcore radical rise to power if you don't manage that properly. And I think that
I,
that's where people have been critical.
that's that's one of the things that I like. I really hope that I have a feeling that Israel is going to continue even when the United States pulls out.
You think what? That
I think
Israel will
that
continue
I think
operations?
Israel is going
Oh, for
to
sure.
continue operations even when the United States pulls out. And
But I'm
that's where like, like listen, like let's end this. We've destroyed everything in Iran. Like, let's call for what it is. We've destroyed everything.
Well,
Like,
except the majority of their energy infrastructure.
okay, we can do that, but we don't want to do that, right?
No,
Like
no, that would
that's the thing.
literally that nation would take 20 years to rebuild,
Correct. So it's like,
good or bad.
I'm sure they want to, I'm sure they want, the United States of America is thinking we want to make a deal with Iran with new leadership that will be prosperous for the United States of America. So it would be for for Iran and their people too. I feel like Israel ain't gonna stop, man. I feel like I'm gonna get heat for this, but it's the truth. Like BB is the type of guy. Well, he's not gonna fucking stop.
Well, they are a very capable military, but without the United States backing them, I don't think, if, and especially if there is a deal struck with remaining leadership there between the United States and Iran, Israel is either going to come to the table or they're going to be cut out of the deal. That's the way that
Well,
Trump has
that's how
been
it has to
working
be.
this.
It has to be like that. Like, respectfully, so somebody asked me, you weren't on here yesterday, but later in the day, somebody asked me if I support Israel. I do support Israel, but I'm critical of certain things like Bibi. Like, I think,
Yeah.
look, look, this, there's so much that I want to say. Like, it's so complicated. It's like they're defending their land, but like I feel like sometimes BB goes overboard. Like there's times where President Trump doesn't even know that shit just went down. He's informed by a reporter. I don't like that. If we're working together, right? Trump and the administration should know what's happening.
Well, I
You-
mean,
you-
that's the way
when
that
Trump-
Israel has operated for a very long time.
Yeah, but like that, like
Any
then we have to
coalition.
put I can't believe I'm gonna shut my fucking mouth. I'm gonna shut my mouth.
You're gonna get
Mm.
yourself kicked out of Zion, but you're gonna
I'm already kicked out, so it really doesn't matter. No, but the whole thing is like, obviously, I love Israel. I got family out there.
and you
I-
and
I'm
you're
just
looking
saying-
forward to living for a very long time and getting your workouts in tomorrow.
I know you're trying to keep me safe from the Mossad and stuff, but like I'm just.
I'm sorry, but
I just hope that there comes a time where Israel gets a new prime minister that is more focused on solving the issue in the Middle East. That's really what I hope for. Because it'll be beneficial for the Israelis and it'll be beneficial for the people in the Middle East.
yeah,
At some point, this war needs to come to an end. And I know, like, I'm, that's like wishful thinking because this has been going on for fucking centuries. But at some point, we need younger people to just.
yeah, but
No,
younger
younger
people are
people to put this
soft
on.
and they
Yeah.
don't have any resolve.
I'm talking
They're
about real
squishy
people.
and
Yeah,
soft.
I'm talking about the real youngsters. I'm not talking about the soft ass generation that we have here. I'm talking about younger
I have to
individuals.
address this, David. I looked down and the very first thing that I was reading on the chat is BB's been planning this since Iraq, in my opinion. One of the things that I will
Landon, do
say,
you understand why Americans, like there are some Americans that don't believe him?
yes, I absolutely
Because
understand him.
he came here multiple times, said that Iraq was like fucking 2 seconds away.
From WMDs. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we go there and then there's none.
there's not.
But the Iran issue is real though. Here's the it's like the boy who
yes.
cried wolf, right?
Yes.
It's that. It's Iran really did have the capabilities. They were lying to the entire world. They had the capabilities. The missiles could go further than 1,000 miles. It was proven, right? Like
Yes.
they had all this. They told, like it's like Marco Rubio when he came out and said if they wanted nukes, if they wanted nuclear capabilities, great. You build up, you build out in the open, not on the ground, kind of thing. Like
for
Iran had
entertainment stuff, yeah.
every ambition to create nuclear weapons, to create ballistic missiles, fucking missiles that can fucking launch off to the United States of America. They had every and fucking intention to do these things, and I believe this war was justified 100%. Do I think that that's what Trump wanted to do? No, I
Well,
think that he had no other choice.
the
That's it.
typical pushback, though, is that, "Oh, well, Midnight Hammer must have been a failure because then we didn't destroy their capabilities." Those sites were absolutely smashed to bits by those, bombs. The fact of the matter is, we also knew that, and we're hoping that that would be it in terms of destruction of the production. That doesn't mean that you got all of their material, because production and material, they've been moving that stuff around, and just like they decentralized much of their military and their governmental infrastructure, they decentralized where this stuff was. And you had the three main production sites that were hit at the different locations. And then why have they been hitting, like Pickaxe Mountain so much now, is because likely they have additional production facilities that they found out about. And also they still had the material. That was part of the negotiation, was turning over material that you have, right? Enriched material. To which they said no, and then claimed that they had enough material for 11 nuclear bombs or weapons.
Yeah.
And what they were doing was accelerating their programs to protect this via their missile production for ballistic missiles that could go much further. Trump warned, even at the State of the Union, he said they have the capability to strike deep into European territory, even London. Well, it turns out with the two missiles that were fired towards Diego Garcia and the flight path, absolutely London should be scared. And Trump wasn't lying about this. Um, and they were building out drone production facilities that were, in conjunction with sharing technology and materials between Iran and Russia, that was in support of the Ukraine war for Russia. And of course, they had major manufacturing for drones. When the more that they manufacture, at some point they would hit that critical curve where you don't want to touch them, whether they have nuclear material or not. There's nothing we can do. And if, for those that have been arguing about whether or not they had nuclear material, then why wouldn't they let the inspectors go in anymore? Why did they kick them out? Right? Like, you have no legs to stand on by saying like, oh, they didn't have it, or they had it, or we didn't destroy it, or this or that. Like, their ambitions didn't go away. Their production was severely degraded and set back for a very long time. But if they still had material out there, and which now we know that they did, and we'll likely find out more after this is over, especially in the analysis of strikes and stuff like that, in a different, calmer environment where people actually aren't focused on this. We're going to see the media move on, but we're probably going to see a lot more analysis of where they have these things stored. There's already some really good analysis out there, but like, it's not a question of, and people keep moving the cheese too on this. It's not a question of the who, why, what, where, and when. It's more of a focus of what happens now or what happens next. And people are arguing over who's going to take the L and who's going to take the W. Guess what? The EU nations and NATO partners are going to be taking the L, because China's going to come do a deal. Russia's going to come do a deal. Asian nations are going to come do deals. The Gulf states are going to do deals with the United States, and y'all are going to be left looking from the outside in. And that's what you referenced the news that you were watching and some of the commentators there. I've been watching a little bit of Australia, South American, and then of course EU news as well. And the common thread in South America is, we want to be the United States friends. This is the common thread. We want to be friends.
Can I say something though about these speeches that were given out yesterday?
Yeah.
Not just, so I went ahead and we talked about Trump, right? But I watched these other guys step up to the podium, and I got to tell you, man, holy fuck, man, you don't like Trump, okay? Have you watched these people? Have you watched the Prime Minister of England?
Keir Starmer.
Wow, what a bitch, bro! Like,
he's got no spine.
None. You can see it. Like, he's shaking. Like, this man is shaking while he's talking, and he is catering to a new audience. Do you guys understand where I'm going with this? I'm trying to. He is catering to a new audience. 100%. Like he is catering, and France like said they have no capabilities of going into Iran
don't.
and getting oil. Like it's
They
funny
don't.
to hear. None of them do. None of them do because the United States of America, for the longest time, has been helping every single country. So when it comes down to this, when they need help, America is there to help. When America needs just a base to land on, they're telling us get the fuck out of here.
Bases that we've funded and built, by the way.
So how crazy is this? I mean, like, even if, like, again, you don't have to be a Republican, you don't have to be a Democrat. If you're an American, and we as Americans, with our tax dollars, are funding all this stuff, you have to kind of sit back right now and look at this and say, by the way, I know you're brainwashed into thinking that this is an illegal war, which sounds so stupid. I don't know which Democrat came up with this that has all you guys using the same regurgitated bullshit. But what illegal war are you talking about? What illegal war are you talking? Then let's go ahead. If you think this was illegal, let's bring Obama into the picture. Let's bring a lot of presidents into the picture now. Let's bring back good old Bill Clinton into the motherfucking picture. You guys, you can't pick and choose. You cannot pick. You should actually be saying thank you. Thank you, Trump. I didn't vote for you, Trump, but thank you for having the balls and doing what these other presidents said that they would do, but they couldn't do because this obviously would affect their presidency or their image with the public at the current time. Thank you, President Trump, for showing us that our allies are now allies. You motherfucker, anybody who works, okay, because I don't believe half of you motherfuckers work, but anybody who actually works and you're paying all these taxes and you're an American citizen, to watch our money go to these countries, our so-called allies, and having them absolutely not have our backs. Are you fucking crazy? And I was about to say the R word and I switched that up. Lovely. Okay. Right with the flow. I switched that up. I was about to say something so bad, Landy. And I switched it up. I just can't stand. Honestly, you know what I think? I would like to come up with a new program. I would like to come up with a new program. We have illegal, undocumented immigrants here, and some of them might be cool. I think we should go through this rigorous process of figuring. Actually, no, fuck that. It goes against everything that I stand for. I think the people that are waiting in line right now should be expedited into this country, that are waiting in line to get into this country, to get a green card. They should be expedited in here. And we should switch them up because we have Americans who hate America here. We should get rid of them and bring in the immigrants that are waiting to get into this country to actually be more productive. And it would be more productive having them here than having these so-called Americans here. I think that should happen. If I was the president, I'd make that happen. Get rid of Americans who hate America. What? Is that bad? If you hate America and you hope that America goes down in flames, right? Are you really American?
Well, many of these individuals who espouse those particular takes are some of the ones that have benefited the most from living here in the United States, right? And yeah, I mean, if you don't like it, leave, right? So you can relinquish your
if you
citizenship.
hate America, Lamb, did you understand a lot of these people who hate America have never lived in another country? They have never left their own town. They hate America, but they have never been. You know what's funny? A lot of them support Europe. They've never been to Europe. Why do we talk about Zelensky still being the president of Ukraine and not holding elections? Because I remember a country that held elections while they were in war. You know what country that was?
Yeah.
The United States of America.
Yep.
So why is Zelensky still in office? What? I'm just
Well,
saying, like, they talk about Trump being
it's an emergency
king,
power.
right? You know what's funny? Trump was asked this question about the whole king situation. He goes, "If I was king, I wish I was king, because if I was king, there would be a lot of more things being
Getting
done."
done. Yeah.
So, like, who's really like a? If you imagine if Trump pulled a Zelensky,
I think that's what they're trying to set up as like some sort of executive um invocation of wartime powers to remain in power. And that's not going to happen. There's never even been an indication that that was going to happen. That's been entirely made up by the fake right and the woke left. And the big thing here is I think that with this geopolitically and monetarily shifting landscape, a lot of people don't know how to read the board anymore, and they're not really looking at the important pieces that are moving. I mean, even when looking at markets, right? Like I talked to you the other day about watch oil as it relates to the markets, and specifically watch WTI oil and Dixie, right? If we see, the 98 to 102 area, essentially hold up on closes for oil, I talked about moving back to the highs. We just about hit 115 again today for WTI, which means we're looking at oil around the globe being far more expensive than even here in the United States. Um, we've seen a little bit of movement and readjustment in the markets in terms of where things are going. Now we're getting a little bit of a buyback on bonds and U.S. bonds. So, a lot of what is happening is all these things are intertwined. Geopolitics, economics, and war posturing and conflict are all representative of the actual shift that's happening in the world order for who is going to have the most resources and the most control in negotiations with other nations moving forward. And this was going to happen either way. It was already starting to happen under Biden's administration with the Russia Ukraine situation. Um, and then, of course, Israel and Palestine situation. We were already starting to see how the economics was changing, and then how nations were already essentially getting us into kinetic World War III via proxy warfare, right? And this is another situation in which we're seeing that occur, which is why I think that even looking here at home at Western media, go look at what's actually happening and how China's been and Russia have been signaling to Iran to basically take a deal, right? And it's because they know that the board has shifted to a point where now they need to go play defense and take the diplomatic routes versus the build-up routes versus the saber rattling and proxy war routes that they had previously taken. Um, and a lot of people, the biggest tell here is China and Russia are steering clear. Yeah, logistical support and intel support is not really it did not help Iran. And in fact, Iran was prepared for an entirely different type of warfare with the United States and Western nations than I believe they ever expected. And I think that once they started to realize that being Russia and China started to realize what the actual play was from the Trump administration, it was really following through and proving out a few points, both logistically from the military's point of view about the amount of power that the US military actually has. And then from the geopolitical point of view of Trump realigning relationships and realigning a relationship to have the backing of the Gulf states and start shifting to individual deals with countries in the EU and in Asian nations, that this is no longer the same type of world order that we had under NATO EU leadership, with America being the biggest player there in terms of money and military might. And now that is changing. So now you get a different type of an environment coming out of the other side of this for who's going to deal with who and what kind of relationships nations are going to have with each other. And I think that that is the most interesting part about what's happening. And we are seeing that fracture split the energy market from the Western hemisphere to the Eastern hemisphere. And I think that that's only going to deepen, especially because Trump gave the warning. We're not going to protect this strait. It's more important to you in Europe and you in Asia than it is to us. So you can come and do deals with us, or you can come here and you can secure this your own once we are done with our military operations here and degrading their capabilities and crushing their manufacturing and command and control infrastructure. So if you don't maintain it, we're not going to. Now, you pointed out something very important. Many European nations don't have the actual militaries to do it. They don't have the resources to do it because of what they already have to protect versus going here and adding a new portion of strategy to actually consider when it comes to securing an area and defending an area from potential threats that they just don't have the capabilities for,
Yeah.
which also gives the United States another bargaining chip in the region. So I think it's going to turn out much different than many expected. And I think that the real shot across the bow is at London and EU nations. And I think that that's something I've maintained since day one. I talked to you about it both behind the scenes and here. And I think that we're going to start seeing that come to fruition. We're starting to see it in the language. It's now not just a Truth Social post. It's being put out there by President Trump in his speech. And I think that rhetoric and that pressure is only going to build as military operations wrap up in the Iranian conflict.
Well, real quick, breaking news: Pam Bondi is out as AG, moving to a new role inside of the White House. So that is now official. And yeah, President Trump has fired. Well, yeah, you can basically say President Trump has fired. Yeah, reassigned Pam Bondi. Yeah.
So where is she going? Because I didn't see that part.
I will tell you right now because it's breaking here. Yeah, so there you go. I know why this is all happening too. Hold on. I kind of know why this is all kind of happening here. You got midterms also coming up as well, but I think obviously, what is happening? Is there a new feature on Twitter where like everything just is like
Breaks?
I'm looking at? No, it's like scrolling for me.
That's called Twitter is broken 99.9% of the time now.
It's like, this is crazy, man. I don't even know what's happening. I'm trying to read something and it's just like, I'm trying to see shit. Fuck. Man, so hold on. I caught this. Okay. Here we go. Trump said, let's look at this. Hold on. I'll put this up here. Give me a second.
This is what I've wanted. I've wanted her out since the very beginning.
Well, now, does this now make... Yeah, it's auto-scrolling tech. Like, it's crazy. I can't even keep up. This is... oh my God, third day in a row.
Okay, so Todd Blanche is now going to be in.
Yeah, Tom Blanche. So here, Trump said Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown on crime across our country, with murders plummeting to the lowest level since 1900s. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector to be announced at a date in the near future. And our Deputy Attorney General and a very talented, respected legal mind will step in to serve as, acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. And, listen, besides her dropping the ball on a few things that we spoke about. Obviously, I think these things are being done for the midterms.
Yeah,
If there's a
well,
shot for the, I know, I really do think that they have that in mind. That
some
like
of
if
it
there's a
is
think
it,
about it, if there's a shot to go ahead, and look, Pam didn't do her. I think this is the icing on the cake. When she was in front of the Senate and she's being asked questions and she's throwing, I like her throwing hands and stuff, but like that, not in that position. But then she's talking about the Dow Jones being at 50,000 points. That's icing on the cake. Because like regardless if Democrats want to go ahead and throw the Democrats are going to do everything possible to irritate the fuck out of somebody on the opposite side, and vice versa, right? You
yeah.
you got to be professional in that position. Like you are the attorney general, like you have to be professional. When she brought up the 50,000, she,
Yeah,
she got
very
away.
common.
I was just like this. I kind of like sat back. I said, "This ain't it." And plus, I think the biggest thing that hurt her here was the Epstein files. The way that it was done, I think personally, like you can say like there are other things that you think that led to this, but I think that's the biggest one because it was a
Absolutely.
complete. It was a complete, and I've been saying this. It was a complete clusterfuck. You had, especially the part where all the political influencers are, outside the White House and they're holding binders, which 90% of that shit is already out there.
Hmm.
Nothing new came about it. Then you have files that are magically appearing in New York's, FBI office. Like her going out there saying, "I got the list," and then there's no list. Like the whole thing's been a clusterfuck. And like I don't think Trump was all. I really believe. I really believe in my heart Trump was all about, which he has signed off, released all the files. I think he was angry with everything that transpired.
Well,
And you gave the Democrats a reason. You just gave them a reason to
well,
say, "Look, see."
yeah, the Democrats never cared about this
They
until
don't, because if
he
they
signed
cared,
that
then
executive
it would've
order.
if the Democrats fucking cared about the Epstein files, they would have been released under Biden. They never gave a fuck about him, and they waited. I really do believe they waited for Trump to come in to throw right in his lap and
Well,
make him be the president that goes ahead and signs off on it.
well, yeah, I mean, it was always, I think, a political football that was being prepped
Hot
in the
potato.
SDNY, right? And I've maintained this for a very long time. I've said that likely any tangible evidence that would lead to SA convictions of any sort, one, the statute of limitations is already up for a lot of it, but also likely any material evidence was destroyed long, long ago. There's no way. Otherwise, it would have leaked or something would have made its way out there, outside of speculation and like, here's a surveillance room. And like, there's just these little bits and pieces. It's just been to kind of lead people along. Um, if they had anything tangible on Trump, they would have used it, right? Like and if they had anything, I think, if the Trump administration had anything tangible in terms of evidence that would lead to convictions on any one of the people that Trump has identified as not being very friendly to him or the United States post presidency, they would also be um, dragged into court, and they haven't been, right? A lot of this, I think that Bondi set herself up and set up the administration for an optics nightmare by the way that she handled it, by the way that she interpreted and reinterpreted his executive order by confusing people about what his executive order even was. When his executive order is clear, release the files. Like that's basically what it
Yeah.
is. Anything that we have, you release it. And instead, she's playing games with it and using it as a political football. And I think that much like I've speculated that many of these players that are involved in the crypto talks regarding the Clarity Act are there um, to inject language and to start a narrative fight about what it is, and in order
Yeah.
to actually bring it down. I think that that's what she was there to do, and I think that
Uh,
I
I think
I
Trump
don't think that was Trump's intention either. I don't think he was
no.
happy with her the entire time.
Um, I'm just thinking about, like, you have Kristi Noem, that I feel bad for her, where she found out, and I'm wondering how, I'm wondering if Trump already knew about
Her
what her
husband.
husband was. Yeah, and
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's what it
wondering
was.
if that's what led to, um, having Trump,
I
have her,
how did she
do
not know? Those things are huge. How did she not find them in,
I
like, a
I
closet somewhere? Like
she must be devastated. Like, you imagine, like, TMZ comes out with fucking your husband with a pair of big old big old titties. Uh,
those are massive. How did she
I
not
don't
know?
know.
She had
Yeah,
to have known.
this is
She
wild.
had to have known and just, like,
I
trying to
don't
keep it hidden. Also,
So you
in this
have
day
that,
and
and that
age
what?
in this day and age, like, do whatever you want, I don't really care, but in this day and age, why are you taking pictures of yourself and,
Yeah,
like, putting it out there like that? Like, you
it
know,
just
nothing's sacred. You're gonna get it found, right? Like, I don't care what you do. You do you. You wanna go cross dress and you wanna wear oversized knockers while you're doing it? Have fun. I don't care. But, bro, why are you taking pictures when your wife is one of the who's one of the most in one of the most important positions in the United States?
I really think Trump, was told about this, and Trump was like, I gotta move here."
Yeah, she's gonna be moved to the American Shield. Her husband can lead with this with his guns out.
And, like, Pam Bondi's not gonna even be a part of this administration anymore. She's going into the private sector. So now
Yeah,
that
there's some speculation that she might be nominated, for some sort of, judicial, role after some time in the private sector, likely to do some optics cleanup for her and kinda take a step back from the public eye.
I think, so right now, like, all eyes are gonna be probably on Tulsi, because, like, if these things came out and, like, people kind of, like, threw them to the side, and, like, I don't think we should. I hope Tulsi doesn't go anywhere. I really, from an optics standpoint, I hope not. I think having Tulsi and RFK Jr. was a huge thing for the Trump administration. So
Well,
I just hope
yeah.
that whatever differences, it's a good thing to have differences. Like, that's what makes a
Yes.
team better. Like, it's good if Tulsi doesn't agree with, let's say, going to Iran, for instance. Like, maybe she doesn't agree with it.
Well, she can
That's
run for
okay.
president.
Yeah, I mean, she could.
Go ahead and run for
Um,
president if you don't agree, because it's more about, I think, if there's some sort of an impasse or rift between the two where it
yeah,
affects the working relationship at that point. I
yeah.
think that Tulsi is a reasonable person, and the way that she even has indicated in her testimony, I felt that if there was any true animosity, she would have aired it out, unless she's just being politically smart. Um,
I think honestly, reading her body language, she was very uncomfortable, and she definitely did not want to lie on the oath.
yep.
This is what I believe. I like, look, if you look at the tape of her speaking, um, the way she worded everything, you can ask Trump. Like, it was one
Well,
of, but not throwing him on the. I didn't feel like
yeah.
she threw him under the bus, but she was like, you can
No,
ask
she
Trump.
didn't. I think that she very carefully chose her answers to, one, not throw him under the bus, and to also show that she supports the president regardless of how she might feel about action being taken.
Yeah,
And that is this cuts both ways. It could be a political maneuver, but also
I think it's
um
political. It's political because
I
like,
maybe.
they will play the tapes back on you. Like,
Yeah, of course.
if you
Of
try to run, like, they're gonna be like, "Oh, but you said," right? Even though,
well,
like,
she's
she
also
should be, like, saying yes. Like, to me, like, with Iran, she should be like, "Yeah, absolutely."
well
To me, in my head.
the fact of the matter is, Odie and I overseeing the intel apparatus, you know, she's in those national security meetings. There's also things that they were asking her that they know for a fact they can get an answer out of her that's going to be vague
Yeah,
because they know that she cannot actually disclose certain things. They
correct.
100% know that. So they were framing certain questions in a way in which it would make her seem evasive, right?
Yeah,
So, and this is, you know, that's all political theater at that
yeah,
point. And it's about, and I think at the end of the day, she came out fine. And I think that she did not throw anyone under the bus either, which is what many were expecting out of her,
yeah,
considering the situation with Joe. But also, a lot of the things that we already know now is that Joe wasn't even privy to a lot of these national security briefings and meetings. And his role in that particular role is to act on already settled intel that you are provided. They are not doing any intelligence gathering themselves. So, you know, he's primarily, his role was kind of cut out of a lot of knowledge of what was happening at those higher levels. Whereas Tulsi is in those meetings, and
yeah,
it's the agencies that essentially she oversees that's providing that intelligence to the president. So she can't answer certain questions, or she has to, you know, end around and kind of maneuver her speech and how she's going to address answering a question that can make it seem evasive as well. I give her the benefit of the doubt, because I think that even if she comes out and it's something that she disagreed with President Trump on, I actually like Tulsi a lot. I think that she has a good head on her shoulders. I think she's one very politically savvy, and I think that she is actually very much. Um, I think that she's one of the more honest actors. That
yeah.
doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with her. Just like there's certain things that I do not agree with Trump, especially when it comes to appointments. I didn't like Pam Bondi as an appointment. Told you this when he had her up for nomination, and Sachs the same way, right? We talked about this a lot back in 25. I did not like either one of those appointments. I thought that they were both just terrible people for those positions. And Pam Bondi already came in having a lot of failures under her belt, in my opinion. I think that what she was doing in that role, she had a lot of success. And I think that that is all stymied by her purposeful negligence with handling the executive order to release those files. And it has now bitten her so hard that she has to go to the private sector to come out of the public eye before she can ever re-enter any kind of public service again, because she needs the optics cleanup and that time horizon in order to do so. So, like, I like RFK Jr. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like Elon. I know people don't like Elon. It's very popular to not like Elon.
I
I
like
told you that
Elon.
was a psyop. I told
Uh,
you right from the very beginning that him getting out of there because his time was up for that special appointment, and he was getting dealerships burned down. He needed the cover.
I think that they planned that whole shit out.
It
I,
certainly
I,
feels that way now, doesn't it?
yeah, I want, but I said that, like I said that on, go rewind. I don't know what episode that was, but I said, like, I feel personally like they huddled in a corner and said, like, this is what we're going to do because, like, Elon's entire all his companies were taking a fucking hit. I mean, I can understand it.
Yeah, both
Like,
physically and
yeah,
kinetics,
I mean, Tesla
and then
dealerships
also in
being
the
set
stock
on
market.
fire and shit, like,
Yeah.
it's not normal. At some point, it's just like, okay. But, I also there might have been a little, Elon is, sort of, in a good way, autistic, like, he is
A little, a
I'm
lot,
just saying, like, he sees something
very.
respectfully to Elon. I don't know, he might watch
Yeah.
the show, like, respectfully to Elon, that when he's set on something, like, with Doge, right? Like, I think, with Elon, he really does feel like he
Well,
can turn around companies.
and he does, and he
Yeah.
has, and what he
Like, I
built
think if
there.
you had him in charge, like, he
Well,
would have helped turn around the United States a little bit quicker because he
well,
did
look at
like, they
who's
did
in there
find a bunch
now.
of shit that would like, we found a lot of things
Yes.
that we were paying for. That why the fuck are we paying for? Why are we sending money here? Why are we funding this? So I don't know, man.
Well, now the new head of Doge, Tim Burchett, I think he's fantastic. I think he's doing a great job. Now, granted, I'm not totally buying into
The
um
aliens.
well, that's a lot of that was on the first, right? So, but prior to that, we saw a few things running up to
Oh, so
that.
he
But
was trolling on that.
yeah, it was on the first where he said some of this.
Oh, okay, because he was on the news and I think it was Newsmax where he
Wait,
was
was
like,
that was April 1st though, right? Am I or was
it
that
was
the
yesterday. It
31st?
was yesterday, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
He didn't look like he was
I don't know,
joking.
the hybrid alien program. Like,
No,
look,
he was like he said, I've seen things in the files. Like if Americans would see this,
I don't know.
they'd freak out. They wouldn't come out the houses.
I
It was
okay, tech brings up a good point. The aliens.gov, I get it. Alien and aliens.gov. Yeah, I get it. The release Trump has demanded that that we review and release files related to actual organisms, not just UAPs.
yeah.
But like I like Tim. That stuff aside, I like that Tim is now in that position because it couldn't have been there was no way that Elon could have stayed longer without an appointment, right? So that he
Yeah.
had to set up the infrastructure, and I think he set up the proper infrastructure for them, and now Tim Burchett has taken that over, and I think that, they retained a lot of the Doge staff, right? That and there's been very little turnover. Obviously, Big Balls left, and then he saved some woman's life. There's a few others that were there. I thought that
Big
that was
balls.
great.
That's what they
Yeah,
call me in. They call me that in high school. Big balls.
but I think I like that stuff, right? I like what he set up there. I like that it lives on. I like that it's under the purview of Congress now, and that we actually have somebody who is willing to share that information with the public and Tim.
With
It
big
could be
balls.
somebody else in the future who doesn't though.
Somebody has big balls.
Oh my god. Uh, but
Thank you,
yeah,
Landy. I
thank
appreciate
you,
you,
David.
man.
Appreciate
I gotta say, hold on. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's give Landy a round of applause. He came in hot today. I heard the voice, cranky ass. But definitely
hard to be
do.
cranky.
If you guys missed Landy's market wrap up, do yourself a favor, tune into it. I will go ahead and post it up myself and retweet it. If you guys are too lazy to go to @CryptoLandy on X, or you can visit also and you can follow Landy on Twitter, and that's at landy.btc. So tune in to Landy Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Landy's breaking everything down. And also tune in to my show here where Landy comes on. Listen, we're only scheduled for 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know how we get here, but it is what it is. It is what it fucking is. But you love it. I love it. Everybody loves it. It's huge.
I mean,
Um,
honestly, we were taking conversations that you and I typically have off camera, on
yeah.
camera at this point.
Like that. Listen, it's these conversations come natural. This is easy.
Yeah.
I love crypto. I love digital assets. I love finance, and I love politics. Like I love talking about politics. I don't claim to know everything, but I don't know. I see these things and I give my opinion. That's really it. That's I'm not trying to
David,
stir
I'll
shit up.
I'll leave you with one thing real quick here, and that's just in the markets for Bitcoin. I said yesterday, watch 65K to the downside. That's kind of where we started to head. The reason why oil moved up to some of the key areas overhead, which caused some strength to come back to Dixie. Markets taking a little bit of a back step, and we're seeing a bit of capital rotation. I mentioned capital rotation into risk off, being gold, silver, and we're seeing some of that into bonds. So Bitcoin likely going to put in another lower high, possibly test down to 65, but that's the area you need to watch. If it starts to fall apart, 62.5 to 65 is the zone of interest. Anywhere below there, we're expanding back to the lows, 58 to 60 first, and then mid to low 50s from there. And back to the upside, need to see 72K closed above. That would break the downtrend. As it currently stands, until we get a close. If we do see closes back above yesterday's high, if we close like this today, red, anywhere below, around 67.5, then the lower high to beat for Bitcoin will be around 69,300. That would be the new downtrend break area. Just be aware of the areas to the downside, 62.5, 65, 58 to 60, mid to low 50s from there if we get expansion. But if we do see closes back above 69.3, that would break the downtrend. Then we can look up to the next high at 72. That's the big thing that has changed since yesterday, is that high from yesterday.
And that, right, my friends, is Dandy, aka Landy, giving you the traffic and weather on Bitcoin. Landy, as always, it is a pleasure to speak with you and break down the markets and political conversations with you.
I appreciate it, David. Thank you for having me as always, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. Enjoy your time running, around on spaces and breaking shit down.
It's been over a week, and you notice you haven't seen me anywhere.
I know, really,
Been very
really
busy.
busy. I know, busy on calls. I know. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what Christy Noem's husband said. I'm busy on calls. Anyway, Landy,
Oh
enjoy
no!
yourself.
Wait for the pictures to come out about me. Woo!
Yeah, hey, I'm not saying a word. Thank you, Landy.
Take care, David. Thanks.
That's Landy, everybody. Tune into Landy Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch him, though, if you're too lazy to go ahead and follow him on his personal account. You can go ahead and catch the show also on the Gokhshtein handle account. That's right, the Gokhshtein. I wish I can show you what we're doing right now with Gokhshtein Media. I wish I can show you, but y'all have to wait a little bit more. I'll have to wait a little bit more. Anyway, it is 1:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have tuned into the Breakdown episode 694, sponsored by Midnight. Shout out to Midnight. Also, Polymarket went and said, and I retweeted it and gave my thoughts on it. But before it was announced that Pam Bondi was essentially fired from her position as Attorney General, Polymarket had it at 93% of her, being fired by Donald Trump, and it did happen. So it's prediction markets, man. Polymarket has been on the ball, man. Has been on the ball. Shout out to Cake Wallet. Phenomenal sponsor, Cake Wallet. Vic and Seth and the entire team doing a great job with building out a secure wallet here for the crypto industry. You should check that out, cakewallet.com. Also, check out CakePay. They've been working on that. CakePay. You got to use your crypto, man. Use CakePay. People's Reserve. Shout out to People's Reserve, CJ. Again, we'll be talking at Bitcoin at the Bitcoin conference later in this month. So shout out there. Man, yeah, I stick to what I was saying earlier today. I'll recap it. That for me personally, maybe Landy's right. Maybe it's because obviously I report on this every single day. That to me, I didn't hear anything that I don't know. I didn't hear anything in the speech. I didn't hear anything in the speech, but I understand there are people that maybe they don't tune into the show. Maybe they don't watch TV at all. But here you have the president of the United States of America come out and he's just breaking down the stuff that we already know. We already know that's essentially happening. So, okay, I get it. I just, maybe it's the thing where in my mind, maybe it's because I've seen a more enthusiastic Trump and the one that came out yesterday was kind of like mellow. So maybe that also threw me off. Maybe that also. What else? What else? Crypto. Honestly, man, like everybody's bitching on the timeline. Everybody's pivoting into new fucking sectors because obviously they can't trade in a bear market. They can't trade it to begin with. So you got a lot of people that are bitching and moaning, and now they're off promoting like I don't know some random bullshit, different niches. Some people are trying to be political. They absolutely don't know politics, and just fun to watch everybody destroy themselves and just can't. Why can't you just stick with crypto, man? Crypto's gonna make a comeback. Stick around. Put out some educational pieces. Can't do that. Yesterday, I put out a tweet. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Um, what was the tweet? Put out a tweet. Where is it? Where's the tweet? A lot of people that follow me are Republicans, and they're like, I love the speech that Trump gave last night. I love the speech. That's what a lot of people are saying. They love the speech. Let me find. Where is this? Where is this? God damn it! Why can't I find it? Okay, so one day ago, I said Pepe was born in the darkest parts of the last bear market. Now I'm patiently waiting for the next Pepe to come out of this one. Oh my God. I got attacked. I don't care. I got shilled. Like, people are shilling me absolute dog shit. Like, I'm talking about dog shit. But I'm waiting for that next meme. I'm waiting for that next meme. And it could be a meme that we currently have. You see, that's the thing. And maybe I should have been more detailed. But you know what? That's not what X/Twitter is all about. Maybe I should have been more detailed so you guys could understand where I was coming from, where I essentially was saying, like, who's going to be that next Pepe? It could actually be Pepe, or it could be Dogecoin, Shiba Inu. Who's going to be the next Pepe that comes out of this bear market and sparks and brings together everybody in this space? That's really what I meant. It's really what I meant, but I have to realize that a lot of you guys, the IQ isn't there. The IQ isn't there, and I need to be a little bit more detailed when I put out these thoughts that I have. Because I'm thinking, oh, I like this is easily understandable for somebody who at least got their GED or some shit, but nope. It's not. It's not. I think also we got to see, in terms of politics, especially geopolitics, we get to see all our allies show their true faces. So I can't wait. I can't wait until we just pull out of NATO. We should have a long time ago pulled out of NATO. We're spending our money to protect these countries that hate us. Why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep supporting countries that hate us, that don't like us, that don't like the way we go about living our lives, that don't like America's success? Why do we keep supporting these countries? Ask yourself. Why do our representatives continue to support countries that hate us? Our allies that really aren't our allies anymore. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy in a relationship that ended a long time ago. So that I'm hoping that we can use some of that money if we can get out of NATO and get some mental health institutions going here, because a lot of these people who marched at No Kings need that. A lot of that is needed. By the way, I'm a little bit taken back. I'm not taken back at all, but I'll be right after this commercial break. I'm going to break something down. I've been thinking about this. And it's actually true. We'll be right back. Shit, I didn't even click. Come on! I said we'll be right back.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. You are tuned in to the Breakdown, episode 694. We are 6 episodes away from 700. That's right, 6 episodes away from 700. I appreciate it very much. Appreciate, God damn it, man. It's, what a ride, man. What a ride, and it's just beginning, so that's pretty cool. Yo, I was looking at some of my videos. Like, I went back and looked at some of my videos. Man, I was a fatty. I didn't even notice it, like, because I was building, like I was really building. And I'm looking and like I look like a fatty. I'm fat shaming myself. I didn't realize. I did not realize I look like a fatty. When you start like so the reason why I seen it is I was looking through videos and I was like, man, why didn't nobody tell me? Because I was doing dirty bulking. And somebody said you should try dirty bulking, and I attempted to do dirty bulking. Bro, like that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. I could have been on TLC. I could have literally been on TLC. My 600-pound life. I'm telling you, I got no friends. I got no friends, man. Not a single person said, hey, Dave, you know what? I think you're looking like a fatty. Not a single person said, hey, Dave, you might be looking like a little, look like It looked like you're eating a lot to go hibernate or something. Like, shout out Tech. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Nah, I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, damn. You imagine me at 600 pounds? Speaking of, there's a lot of shaming of men going on. And I don't know if it's deserved. Maybe it is deserved. There's a lot of shaming going on. Have you seen men now? They ain't lifting. There's somebody that I know that has been, I think a few days ago, and I started to and the algorithm started to hit. So you know when you click on one picture on Twitter, the shit like for the next day or two, you're just gonna see shit in that niche just pop up on your timeline. Well, that was happening. And I seen a lot of men aren't working out. Like a lot of men are not working out at all. 90, I would say in the high 90% range. Like does anybody remember models? Like when I was growing up, when you seen a male model, right? They were like they were built. Or at least they looked like they worked out and they were healthy. See, I could talk about these things because I'm secure with my sexuality. All I'm saying is, like Tyson, remember that guy Tyson? What was that guy's name? Tyson what? A woman in here has to know, man. What was that guy's name? Tyson, I think he went out with like Tony Braxton or something. What was his name? Tyson something. Anyway, he had a lot of good-looking men. No Diddy. No Diddy at all. I'm just saying, like, let's call for it. Listen. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Not Mike Tyson, bro. Not Mike Tyson. I'm saying Tyson. Tyson was his first name. But I'm saying, anyway, men look like men, okay? Men look like men. Now, look at this society. Men don't look like men. Men look like females. And now females look like men. I don't know what's happening, bro. I don't know. You know what you need in your life? Hold on. Everything fell. Everything just fell. But you know what? A lot of people need David Goggins in their life. Yeah, Tyson Beckford. There you go. Shout out to Tech. Always coming through. By the way, never mind. David Goggins. Okay, David Goggins, cop. You should get the book. Never finished. I have he has another book before this. You can get that to get started. But like here, get this book. It'll help you. Every time I work out or lift heavy and I have any thoughts about like doing one less rep, all I hear is David Goggins calling me a bitch. I'm telling you, that's all I hear. Like if I ever feel like man, you know what? That's it. I'm good. Nope. Who's gonna carry the boats? And then I hear David Goggins calling me a bitch. And I'm like, nope. I gotta finish. I gotta finish what I started, man. And look, I wear this. Hey, I'm telling you, man. Here are my beats. I put them on. By the way, these beats, I'm gonna tell you the fucked up part about these beats here. And I'm not even getting paid for this shit. So you're welcome, Dr. Dre. But I wear these beats, right? These beats are great. You can listen to, I got to talk about this too. My workout yesterday, I got to talk about this too. You can wear the beats, but if you're out and about, number one, you don't hear anything with these beats on. Like they suppress noise like crazy. But if you're working out and like and you turn around and you don't see somebody, it's over. Like, you're gonna be scared shitless. He doesn't own Beats no more? Okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But shout out to whoever owns, what is it, Apple? Apple probably owns these shits. Shout out to Apple. You're welcome for the free fucking advertising. By the way, yesterday, all of a sudden, as I'm working out, Spanish music comes on. Like, literally Spanish music comes. Here, I'll show you what comes on. Here, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna play exactly what came on as I was working out. Let me get this on. Out of nowhere. And now, mind you, I can't change the music. But I'm talking about it really gets. Bro, you know when you hear Spanish music, like even when a white person hears Spanish music, all of a sudden like they get some lubrication in their joints. Like, I'm telling you. 100%. Like, there's no lies found in this. When a white person hears Spanish music or a certain beat, all of a sudden they know how to dance. Like right now, like. I gotta find this thing that turned on though, because it was hella Spanish, man. That's what came on. This came on yesterday. I'm like, so am I working out or am I dancing? I didn't take off my shirt. By the way, TikTok is lying. Tech is talking about I took off my shirt today. I wouldn't do that because I don't want to embarrass. I don't want to embarrass fucking all the dudes in here that weigh 110 pounds. I don't want to do that. Anyway, welcome to the breakdown. We discussed crypto. We discussed President Trump's speech last night. We talked politics. Obviously, Landy dominated the conversation. We talked about geopolitics. We talked about Iran. Breaking news, obviously, Pam Bondi is no longer the attorney general as of today. Trump has fired her. There's rumors that are going around that Tulsi could be next to step down. So, a lot of things cooking, right? A lot of things cooking. The markets aren't looking so tough right now. The markets aren't looking so tough right now. But I believe, though, come middle of April, beginning of May, we probably will see our turnaround. I believe that'll probably happen around that time. So this is your best opportunity. This is your best. Yeah. The first hour of my show is Landy. Like, Landy is just like, I cut him off. He gets angry. I feel like he's about to hit me with a belt. But I feel like we're gonna have a major turnaround in this quarter. I really do. Iran, that should come to an end. We're probably going to take Cuba next. That's happening, right? Cuba's going to probably be next. Who's going to really stop us from taking Greenland? I mean, if we get out of NATO, I can see that also happening. Or I can see the conditions. Holy shit, think about this. The conditions for the United States of America to stay a part of NATO is giving us Greenland. I can see Trump negotiating that. I can see Trump saying, you want us to stay in NATO? Then we need Greenland. Completely, we need ownership of Greenland. If not, we're leaving. And now you have Europe that has absolutely no army, okay? And they would have no protection at all. Now they gotta, like, we don't use Greenland anyway, so might as well just give it to the United States. They'll have no other choice. Think about that for a second. That just hit me. That just hit me sitting here thinking and talking about Spanish music coming on out of nowhere. Think about that. Trump can give them an ultimatum. Give us Greenland and we will protect you. If not, goodbye. NATO can't afford it. They don't got money. They don't got money to spend for this stuff. They do not have any money to spend for any of this stuff. They're going to have no choice but to give up Greenland. Holy shit. That is the plan. That is ultimately the plan. Oh my God. I am so smart. I am so fucking smart. I am absolutely fucking smart. If I'm the president of the United States of America and I'm feeling like NATO has absolutely disrespected me, well, here's your choice. Give us Greenland and we're staying. If not, goodbye. And what are you going to do? You got no army, no nothing. It's going to take you years to build out an army. You got no navy at all. Zero, you got nothing. I want Greenland now. I can dance, man. What are we talking about? I can dance. Are you kidding me? You think I can't dance? I'm from New York City. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? How dare you disrespect? How dare you disrespect me? How dare you? How dare you? Yo, that right there is what's going to happen. I think if Trump really wants Greenland, I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to say, give me Greenland, and we will continue to stay with NATO. Otherwise, we're leaving. And the Danish have sled. One sled dog? What are you talking about? What are we talking about? That's wild. That is wild. I'm smart. I've been told I'm smart. Been told since I was a young boy that I'm a very smart individual. My teachers told me I'm a smart individual. I would read something in a book and I that's it. I'd be able to take the test and I'd still remember it. Smart. Anyway, it is 2:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On a Thursday, it is April 2nd. It's not April 1st, it's April 2nd, and Pam Bondi is no longer the Attorney General. So now there are a lot of people, especially probably in the Republican Party, that are absolutely happy. I've been reading comments during the show while Landy was talking, where a lot of Republicans have been like, finally, the Band-Aid has been ripped off. Finally, that Bondi is not the Attorney General anymore. A lot of Republicans feel like the ball was dropped on the Epstein files on her side. And so here we are. 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 Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. Oh my God. Tomorrow is Friday. And we'll go ahead and talk about, man, I am so built tough that it's hard for me to take off my jacket, man. Hard for me to take off my jacket. Damn. Anyway, tomorrow is Friday. We'll talk, we'll recap. We'll fucking recap. We'll recap. We will recap everything that has happened this week. We will recap. Listen, hey man, when you're sexy, you should go ahead and use it towards your benefit, especially for ratings. But we'll recap everything in the news that's happened in the news this week. And I'm trying to think when I'm coming out with this goddamn self crypto show and also the political show. I said it was April. I don't know if it's going to be May. I just have to. I know people have been asking me about that. I have to figure out when. We will have politicians that come on this month, and also some really cool, notable figures that have come onto the show to chop it up with us. So, yeah, yeah. That's the one thing that I get compliments on my shoulders. You know, imagine a fat person telling you that I should widen my shoulders. That is wild talk. It's absolutely wild talk. Anyway, I'm built tough. I'm Viking built, man. I'm Viking built, man. Look at that. Look, are you fucking kidding me? My shirt's about to rip off. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. A lot of you motherfuckers are jealous, obviously, and it's okay. It's okay. I've never been there. I've never been in that position of being jealous of anybody, but I can understand. I get it. You see somebody like me, I essentially don't age, and I appreciate God for that. I don't got a receding hairline, nothing like that. Black hair, beard's still black. I don't dye my hair or beard and shit like that. Skin's always moisturized. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is what an American looks like. This is what an American looks like. A pure American. This is the definition of. I got to run for president. I got to run for president. I got to run for president. I have to. I have to. Anyway, on that note, thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm out.